sources. How to split, exclude, separate audio.
Ah, fuck it. Volgende keer. Stream is al op.
Oké. Maar we zijn nog niet live, toch?
Jawel.
So we have to start speaking English.
Well, it still says starting soon, so you know.
Oh, oké. Kunnen we tenminste... je moet de title nog veranderen.
Oh ja. Speech. Let me also... Should I just do the same, but just podcast after it?
We're not muted.
I know. Because I can't split desktop audio. I just have fuck it. Do I just put podcast after it?
B.A.D podcast episode 1. Do. Okay, at least I can check my audio beforehand. It's somewhat decent. Could be better.
Ready?
Yeah, do you have the transition screen at ready?
Hey, look, there it is.
Hey! Well, let me notify the plebs in the other channel. We are live. We are live. There we go. Okay. Last checks, people, sorry, but there's a lot of things new about this podcast, so we have to check a few things out. Alrighty. So, hello, Stan.
Hello, how you doing today?
Pretty good. A little bit sore of yesterday's work, but slowly but surely we're getting there, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
thinking of actually, well, try to get some work there as well.
yeah, it is pretty decent work, especially the evening. You work from 3 to about 12 o'clock at night. But they also have student rosters, which makes you work a little bit less.
I'm surely gonna look into that for sure.
Yeah, and they're still recruiting, so.
Okay, good shit.
Yeah, because it's quite a carousel, so a lot of people are leave and join at the same time. But that's just because of the fact that people are slowly returning to their normal lives thanks to the plague. Meaning that a lot of people don't have a lot of free time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
we do.
yeah, a bit too much to be fair.
Yeah, fair. So, welcome everyone to the first episode of B.A.D, also known as Brothers and Dragons After Combat, but I just like the abbreviated version of it because it's quite a punny pun. One which Stan will be proud of, hopefully.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that in the title as well.
Yeah, B.A.D.
I'll just, for now, do After Combat, just so it's clear.
Okay. Fair. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the first session of 2 weeks ago. This is going to be a weekly thing, hopefully every Wednesday, but if we can't make it on that day, we'll take a shot at one of the other days, at least before the next episode of the actual stream is going to happen. Because it's quite a homebrewy world, we can utilize this time to talk about a few things pertaining to Brackenwald, but also about characters. And it's not only going to be Stan and me, it probably is for the first episode, but after that, some of the other cast is going to join us, and maybe a few guest characters we will have along the way.
The time slot also isn't set in stone. This is more because I have something in the evening. It'll most likely be in the evening next time.
Yeah, indeed. Plus, I want this to be a little bit more fluent than our regular programming, due to the fact that it's a side thing to give back to the community a little bit. Later in the stream, we're also going to have a Q&A, so if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll certainly take a look at it, as long as it's not something silly or racist
silly
or
shit I
hurtful.
can deal with.
Yeah, but not like what is Zaar's favorite food before he went evil.
That's actually a good question. Also,
Yes.
before we fully start, thank you very much, Neko, for the great art for the first episode. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, like always, she is probably the hardest working person of the crew, and she is not even a part of it yet.
That is certainly true.
Yeah. My madness of writing, it's more like a hobby than anything else, but the work Neko has been putting into it is quite amazing.
Yeah, she made a logo, she made this thumbnail. She's currently working on an intro for us, which is going to be amazing.
To be special. It's going to be epic. But enough of the niceties and the formalities. Let's talk a little bit about the very first episode of Campaign 2, The Woods of Welder, 2 Electric Boogaloo Bad Audio.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of weeks before that, we did test the audio and it actually sounded good, but for some reason there was some latency issues between the mics this time around.
Yeah, we're certainly going to take a look at it before Sunday's stream, so don't you worry about that. It should be fixed before Sunday. Should be, being the operative word. It just works. But yeah, in the first episode, we met the new crew of B.A.D. We also had quite a few lordoms, because it's a new world. And we encountered our first combat with a follower of a very particular deity.
Yeah, I fucked up there.
No, it's fine. I like surprises.
No, I mean, like, my character should have known, but I forgot that, well, the god appears in that manner. But
yeah,
I totally forgot, so I couldn't roleplay that.
That's fine, it happens, and it's something we can pick up this Sunday. Like the sudden realization of, oh shit, I do recognize what it is.
I'll most likely do that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, to give a few lore explanations, the desert lands of Drossaran in the northern part of Brackenwald is home to the only full neutral faction that still accepts Dragonborn for who they are, instead of the rampant racism that is running around in the rest of Brackenwald. Still, a few bad apples exist, like in the main city of Drossaran. It is heavily guarded by a few people who don't really necessarily agree with the true neutrality of Drossaran itself, which can be problematic. Also, that's why Russell met Shay. In terms of your character and the convent that we created together, Uh, any any part of information you are willing to divulge?
Uh, well, besides, well, my tribe that Dalaran and Eldrinth are a part of, they are incredibly primitive. They haven't really seen the outside world, as in they haven't gone past a certain portion of the forest. They had a troubling history, but you'll have to find that one out in time.
Very fair, very fair. And your convent is located in the northwestern portion of Welder, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. So this is the first time for your character to be so far away from your true home, so to speak. How did it feel to play a character that isn't really world savvy, a little bit naive, if you will, when it came to interactions with the other two characters?
Yeah, I was still kind of trying to figure some stuff out, but I, since I noticed that they were just hunting, which is a normal part of life for me, I didn't really think they were outsiders trying to hurt the nature we live in. So I was just happy to help them, and
Fair.
we will see when we get to a city. I'm
Hello,
curious on how I will work that.
hello, lock the door, and hello, Neckerpire. Welcome to our podcasty cast.
Welcome.
Thank you for the beautiful art. We already thanked you in the start, but you can just check out the YouTube VOD as soon as it's over. But we are all quite impressed and in awe of your skills as always.
Certainly. I am using an older version because I totally forgot to download the newer version.
Yeah, the flame version, you mean?
Yeah, with the fireflies.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly a brightening part of the day, if you will.
Certainly.
So, and yeah, in terms of villages or cities, I think it's going to create a pretty interesting roleplay opportunity for both you and Princess Cece's character.
Yeah, I'll probably
Because
try to eat some money.
probably, what is this? What is this yellow round disc, and why do I have 600 of them? Yeah,
The
it's
amount of
going to be fun.
times I'll attempt to take something that I don't know I actually have to pay for. It's also gonna be fun.
Or try to trade for that matter.
Eh,
Trying to haggle a guard for their bread or something like that.
well, my village was kind of like a communistic village in a way, since we share everything. We have our own jobs. We don't trade or anything. We just do our jobs. It's there for everyone.
Yeah, like one big happy family.
Indeed.
Some might say a cult.
Uh, well, you gotta spoil it. Nah, I'm just fucking with
No,
you.
no, 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 no. I have been throwing around the words convent a lot, and a lot of people know what a the convent truly is. So it might straddle the line between convent and cult, but that's up to you, your brother, and the story to decide, I guess.
Indeed.
But yeah, talking about the very heavily customized monster that I brought to the table for this evening, which also pertains to not only your convent and character, but your religion. Hey, you changed the background.
Yes, I quickly download the newer one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, for the people who didn't know what I was bringing to the table, it was a kind of a twig blight, which has been customized with a deific template that I've made specifically for the horned god, the Green Father, Daddy Horn, however you want to name him, the horny one maybe. I don't
God
know,
damn it.
but the Green Father is a very tricky deity to play because he is as wild and unpredictable and unforgiving an ancient forest itself. It's eat or be eaten, it's worship or die. That's a very good example of how the horned god is supposed to look like. This particular image is from The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and it was one of the main inspirations of creating this god, alongside Hircine, the Daedric prince of the Wild Hunt in Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls games in general. Because I wanted to create a god that both sides of the same coin can worship. Both lawful and chaotic, both evil and good, and true neutral can worship this god, but should you trespass its rulings, well, you've already seen one of the outcomes that can happen.
Yeah, well, my theory is, since there was a human spine embedded within the creature, I feel like it was a person that defied, well, the Green Father and got turned into this to, well, quote unquote, turn his life around to actually protect the forest.
That might be the case, but that's something that will probably be figured out in game.
Indeed.
That's just the DM's way of saying I haven't decided yet. No. Every monster or creation that follows the horned god has a specific template for people who follow the god. Like Shadeen and Russell were fine. There was nothing wrong with them because they are naive about the gods. They don't follow it. They don't worship it. So they can just interact with it like any normal monster. But for followers who do know who the Green Father is, who the Horned God is, they have a very particular issue with attacking creatures that are his. Um, if you are a fervent follower of its teachings and rulings, like your character is, Stan, you are automatically imposed with the effects of Sanctuary, meaning that you have to make a will save or a wisdom save every time you try to attack. And if it's below the general DC of the challenge rating of that creature, your attack will fail. Or you have to attack another creature. But assuming that you weren't willing to attack one of your new party members, I just made the attack fail in general.
Yeah, it's quite understandable.
Yeah, but in the future, I leave that decision to your discretion, especially in multi-encounter fights.
Uh-huh. Well, granted, if I did remember that it was a being of the Green Father, and I saw my party members attack, I would have probably acted a little differently.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking memory.
But it's something to also to discover for yourself, because you might have knowledge about these creatures, but you probably wouldn't have encountered one directly alive
That is true. That's certainly true.
in the quote-unquote bark, so to speak, instead of the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a bad one.
Haha.
But should you make the sanctuary safe, you are safe from its effects for 24 hours.
Okay.
The same goes with the induce panic, the induce madness effect. If you are a follower of the Green Father, but you don't follow its tenets and teachings closely, like your brother does, like Princess Cece's character does, you have to make a will save, and if you fail, you straight up cannot attack. You can't take any actions, no movement, and you get psychic damage, which is scaled to the challenge rating of that particular creature. But same, if you save it, then you are safe from its effects for the next 24 hours.
Okay, so you're either fucked or you're good for the
You're either
entire fight.
yeah, which also plays back a little bit to the nature of this god.
Makes
Very
sense.
black. There's very little wiggle room in terms of morality with the Green Father.
Now,
So yeah,
I was thinking about the whispers we heard in our heads, basically. Well, it wasn't really whispers, it was just silence with, I presumed, that creature saying something to us. But because at first I didn't understand why only Eldrinth was named Fake One. But I presume, you do, of course, don't have to tell me, but I presume that only Eldrinth got called a Fake One due to him knowing of the Green Father, but not closely worshipping him. And the reason Russell and Shay also just heard the name was because they didn't actually have knowledge of his existence.
that's a pretty decent theory. However, it falls apart the second you start mentioning Russell and Shay, because they are naive and they don't follow the god. Yet they heard their own names,
I know, but
so they should have heard either Fake One or Blind One, something to the effect of that, maybe.
hmm?
But the creature and the whispers coincidentally had nothing to do with each other.
Oh, okay, interesting.
No. It's my objective as Dungeon Master to throw as many hooks towards you guys without you noticing.
Makes sense.
Might it be treasure, plot, or campaign hooks? It's my job to scatter a lot of them right in front of you without you even noticing.
By the way, remind me, was it Shay or Russell that heard multiple names and words?
That would be either Shay or Russell. Maybe Lock the Door can shed a light on it in chat. Neko, also, if you're still here, feel free to put a question in the chat for a Q&A if you want to.
Because if so, he did tell us in character about that he heard multiple names.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I presume it would then be connected to his, well, overall arc.
It was Russell.
Yeah,
Uh, it might be, however, it might not be.
we shall see soon enough. I just like,
Hi, folks. Welcome. We are just busy discussing plot hooks and the encounter with the first creature of the campaign. If you have a question for the Q&A, feel free to put it in the chat.
yeah, that is true. He heard a fake one, but Russell heard all of our names, and if I recall correctly, also some other stuff.
Yes,
So there is something special about him. Or, granted, we haven't really moved out of the forest. It could still be that multiple of us will hear multiple things, since it got, you
maybe
know,
not.
uh, it, in English. There was a
English.
pause in that roleplay aspect due to the creature coming in.
Yeah,
So we shall hopefully soon see.
yeah. I wanted to spice it up a little because the role play was getting ahead of where I wanted the group to be.
Oh,
Because it was the very first session. Everyone is still trying to uh, figure out their own role play, figure out their own mannerisms. And after the break, some people were struggling with it. So I decided to move one of the encounters ahead on the table to ensure that there was a break in roleplay, so that everyone had a chance to maybe figure a little bit out of their personality during combat. And sure enough, you found some light bulb moments during the fight.
I did indeed.
Yeah. So I call it a job well done.
Certainly. granted, it'll still most likely be a couple of episodes, especially
Yeah,
during this way too long of a break due to, well, real life things. That we'll have to probably start just basically, quote unquote, from scratch with getting into the roleplay, but we'll get there.
it's fine. It's fine. And starting from this Sunday, I hope we will have every week at least. So, um, lock, lock the door, Shadeen. Um, I have a question that I want answered in the chat. Um, your character has somewhat of a connection with the probably only true living deific being. How did it feel for you to encounter something that might pertain towards another being of power? And whilst you type that out, I will answer Falks's question. His question is, I was actually wondering that if it was a forced encounter or not, and where do you stand in general on forced encounters to move along story or cut off RP when the group isn't in the place or the pace you were expecting them to be? Generally, I try to do that as little as possible because it's the player's game, and if they want to rush a little bit of the story or they want to focus a little bit more on roleplay, then I'm all for it because I am merely the voiceless narrator, as so to speak. But for some situations, especially at the start of a campaign where the pacing needs to be set, especially because they are still trying to get used to the fact that hey, this is an open world, so they can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want. Um, Especially the first few sessions, I influence the pacing a little bit more, but after that, I can generally let it go because everyone has figured out the pace at what they want to go. How does that feel for you, Stan?
I'm fine with it. You know, I'm used to a railroading DM.
Oi! You're talking about me or?
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you, mate. Well, so
No problem, folks.
we were going a bit fast. How do you mean?
Well, we were doing some relaxed role play, some slack role play, if you will, during the butchering of the game, um, at at the river, at the riverbank. However, because I noticed that a few people still weren't in the right mindset, in the right pace with their character to start answering questions that you guys wanted answered of each other, like for example Russell with how he acts and his general mannerisms around it. Um, I felt that there was need of a break in the roleplay itself so that people could feel each other out and could think about um, some of the answers.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, to reiterate for Lock the Door, how does your character, who is probably the only one connected to an actual living deity, how does he feel of encountering something, a creation of another being of power?
Oh, so he's in the actual cult. Got it.
No, he's not an actual cult. More like how to explain. Uh, for example, you know a lot about the Daedric gods in Skyrim or other Elder Scrolls games because they are active in the world, and you don't know a lot about the higher Aedra because there is a lot of lore surrounding them, but they don't really um, have influence directly upon the world. Like for example, everyone knows Sheer Gorath, the Prince of Madness, But as soon as you start talking Auriel, people start flipping their shit.
Yeah, I know neither.
Yeah. But that's just to give an example.
So you mean like the following of said god is more prevalent and noticeable, or is the god actually, well, among the people?
I would say more proactive and more well known. The,
Gotcha.
Hor- the Horned God, the Green Father, is followed by quite a few people, but it's not really known in the annals of history. But Drostaran and Drosdaram are very well known because of the breaking of the world.
Okay, I gotcha.
So there is a lot more general knowledge and general following. For example, yes, you can be a paladin of the Green Father, but it would be quite a bit harder to ascertain that amount of power from a god who isn't really a god in the plainest of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Another question. I got another question, not really about the first episode or anything, but I had this little discussion with my dungeon master I played with. Where do you stand on players having secrets from the DM and other players? I don't mean background stats or stuff, but like plans and or schemes they plan, maybe with other players. Do you want the players to tell you that, or rather not, or let them decide? Well, that question is very easily answered because it, it goes more into what kind of dungeon master I am. To be quite frank, at the start of the campaign, I've asked everyone for their quote-unquote holy grail for their character. One of the end goals they truly want to strive for or reach. Everything uh, everything surrounding that, or how they gain it, or how they want to do it, I let up to their imagination, but it allows for me to tweak a few things within the story of the campaign so that they can truly ascertain their end goal or their dream for their character. But if they have secrets for me about their character or how they act, as long as it's not a Zar situation, I don't care about it.
Sorry.
Lock the Door's answer to my question is he doesn't feel a particular way about it. He's more like, what is the situation because of what's going on with him being a Dragonborn? That's very fair.
Uh, Going back to Falco's question, if you were to know everything we're planning and such, we would never have any legendary moment like Jester and the Witch, you know?
Yeah, very fair. Very, very fair. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Because those are the things that actually hit, you know? Like, I will not forget that moment.
No, no, and I like to play things very fast and loose. Of course, I've written down a shit ton of information, lore, political standings, DFX standings, and a few general quests, breadcrumbs, hooks for everyone. But because I wanted this world to feel more like our world instead of my world, I left a few things up to their imagination. For example, Stan's convent and where he's coming from and how many people are there. I like to play a little bit more fast and loose with that.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of fun actually creating the village me and Elgin are from. I did, of course, discuss what he thinks and such, and it was quite a bit of fun. There's a little tiny bit of an Easter egg, I guess, in the names of said people.
Yeah,
It's nothing great, but hey, and also the reason why my character and Eldrinth actually decided to leave the village. It was quite interesting, actually. Right, it took me way too long, but hey, eventually we got there.
welcome to my world. Yeah, but also to add to that, our friend Lock the Door with his character Shay had a lot of influence on how I wanted to flesh out the desert lands of Drossaran. because I had a few ideas, and those ideas I've written down and passed on to him. But thanks to him coming up with the idea of the speakers and the traveling merchants slash minstrels slash storytellers, I had the opportunity to think way more broadly about how I wanted to flesh out that area for the future. The same goes with you and Eldrinth. Of course, you did most of the legwork, but hey, it's
Fucking CC.
Princess Cici. Welcome. If you have any questions for me pertaining towards the campaign, suck my dick.
Well, his comment is pretty, you know, accurate
Yeah,
then.
yeah. That's a natural one on charisma, though.
Oof.
But yeah, everyone from both the home game and the stream game has had a lot of influence on the world, and it was a joy to write together with you and pick everyone's brains for information or little tidbits that they wanted to be present in the world. That's what I love about both groups. That they really wanted to make Brackenwald come alive.
Well, some of us gave bad ideas, some of us gave good ideas. Oh, that was
See,
terrible.
yeah, and this is why I needed the dice. I need to roll for psychic damage.
Of course.
Let's have a look. Let's do a d12.
Oh damn,
Three points of psychic damage.
was my joke that terrible? It got a D12? Shit.
Yeah. 1d12 plus 69.
Oof. I
Um,
legit can't wait till we maybe, if it ever happens, run across what happened to my village.
yeah, yeah. There is going to be a lot of story in the coming few episodes, to say the least.
Oh.
And it's your group's decision what route you want to take. And to give a little bit of a background peek behind the scenes, if you will, every hook or quest, if you will, that is not picked up by, for example, the stream group, the home game group can grab them.
Okay.
So if you come across a quest with a bandit camp which may or may not hold a clue to one of the artifacts, and you skip it, and good gets to do it, they are maybe one step ahead of gaining one of the 7 artifacts. Or one of the 43 treasures.
Wait. 43 treasures?
Or relics.
Interesting.
Yeah, there are 43 objects of power, and there are 7 very powerful. And the 7 very powerful are the ones directly from the Dragon War itself.
That I knew. I can't wait to actually figure out what they do.
That's the beauty of it.
Certainly is.
So, Shay, do you have a question for your glorious dungeon master? Or anyone else for that matter, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be talking about some minor plans for the future, at least with the Welderkin Forest. Non-spoiler, of course. Stan,
Hmm?
what are you excited about from one of the areas that isn't Welder? Do you have a region that you really want to explore?
Well, as a player or as a character?
Oh, you can give an answer for both.
Character? I don't know what the hell is out there. I can't even read common. I can't really read books. So
Okay.
yeah, that. So I don't really know what's out there. From what I've noticed within the troubling past of my village. Um, my character isn't very keen on actually meeting more people, but he is very keen if he does that he may be able to convert them to, well, to the Green Father.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. It's a cult.
Tell that to Jehovah's Witnesses, mate.
I do every time they knock on my door.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and as a player.
As a player, great
Oh,
question.
okay, whilst you think about it, Shay, if you want to join the voice, you can just hop in. Falks, well, a question I always like to ask, especially to players, why did you choose that character to play? I know it might be early to ask this, but why not? So that's a question you also can answer after the discussion about traveling.
I'm still not entirely sure where I want to go with my travels because my main focus is on the preservation of nature, and the area we're currently in is, well, mostly, if not all, just straight forest and just nature and such. So, because currently I'm just straight up focusing on my character instead of previous campaign and such.
Hmm.
Where I was power gaming way too much, so this time I
Yeah,
threw it right out the window, and my character's gonna be useless in combat and whatever. It's just gonna be, what would my character pick? I mean, what would my character
yeah, and
do and such?
that's
So
what I love about your current mindset.
yeah,
It's
gonna be
something
great.
new.
Um,
It's probably going to be awesome.
so as a player looking into the world, I'm just mainly just focusing on my character, what my character would want. So for travel, it won't be much like in the desert. No interest. It's mainly dead there anyway. Um, Granted, now I think of it, if it's even possible, I don't know. It might be interesting to eventually create multiple oases within the
Hmm.
desert for travelers or
Hmm.
merchants or such to just have a proper place to stop and you know rest their
And
legs.
it's that kind of out of the box thinking which is going to make it awesome. So, do you have time to answer Falk's question?
What question?
Why did you
Why I
choose?
chose this character? I well, at first I just wanted to go back to how I started because I'm once again a ranger. I started as a ranger, which was Dorgish Khan. This time around, I am playing Unearth Arcana, but I just want to go back to the basics and just play for the character and not for the stats or what they can quote unquote do. So I decided to just go straight to basic.
Which is nice. I actually enjoyed you mulling over your character creation decisions and truly thinking about. But yeah, he probably wouldn't want this because you know, and that's what I really liked about you thinking about your character.
Yeah, for instance, I do have two kind of conflicting things within my character stands. Let me just because well, this will be English, yes. This will become very prominent within my character. I will never perform a killing blow on humanoids, only incapacitate, and it does kind of clash with one of my flaws, which is basically a sense of natural selection. If they can't say it themselves, let them die. So it kind of clashes because if I go into combat and I don't kill someone even though I am able to, it kind of clashes with why would I not kill them if they are not fit enough to survive? You know what I mean? But I interpret it more like if they can't survive in nature on their own and as
Let me just say that's going to be bring a lot of spice and potential for roleplay.
maybe eventually my character will crack because something happens and I just, you know, go a
Yeah,
bit
that's why
crazy.
that's why I put that comment in chat.
But we shall see.
Yeah. So to talk about following up question on killing blows. So even in self-defense or when someone is like truly evil, killing people, necromancy, killing your friends about to kill you. Well, that is something that will probably be explored as it happens.
Indeed, because I don't know myself yet. I'm not too much into the character after the first episode, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
But
see.
everyone has a breaking point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same as the Batman in Justice line, where he breaks his one and only rule and what happens around that. It can go a lot of ways after that breaking point, and that's what I truly like about the potential of his role play, especially towards others and himself in development.
I I
Lock
picked
the door. Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
I was gonna read what you would. I picked to play Shay because of how the world was built. I heard about a beautiful desert, and at that point, me and the DM were bouncing ideas off each other, and it turned out to be a dragonborn from the forest.
From the desert.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I
and
relooked third grader.
and I really like the fact that Richard has chosen to impose upon himself the biggest handicap of the entire campaign, which is the race of Dragonborn. Because of the weight of the social issues surrounding that. But to compensate for it, I have looked at his class and how to tweak it for what he wants. So he's going to play a somewhat tweaked, homebrewed paladin, only in the way that most of his spells he can choose in between the paladin spell line for his paladin, which is Restoration Paladin, or I don't know. But he can also choose from Cleric, because he wants to play more of a support, more of a healing kind of paladin, one that uses its powers to aid instead of hurt, which was just a tearjerker for me, so I instantly allowed it.
I'm just thinking, with him, of course, not being accepted into civilization, that might become a fun bit of roleplay for between Dalaran and Shay and, well, NPCs and such, since my character loves nature. He's just part of nature, part of evolution, and I would never allow such, racism and such, because we're all part of nature. Just accept each other.
Yeah, but one thing I also like is that every character has the roleplay potential, because Russell is basically a social outcast. He is someone you try to avoid because he's one of those town criers who screams doom all the day, basically, which isn't the case, but a lot of people treat him as such, which is potential for amazing roleplay.
And he's a bit
Now,
of a mama's boy.
yeah, for Lock the Door, I always forget that one somehow I still remember Conquest and Overbreaker, but well, the others, it isn't the Crown. Yeah, yeah, it was fun to make the custom version of a paladin with you lock the door. So that's the role-playing potential of Russell. We already talked about the role-playing potential of both Shay and Eldrith and Dell.
Well, Eldrin, I'm not entirely certain about, since, as you know, he's not the uh, most prominent follower of the Green Father. I'm wondering what he's gonna say about Shay's situation and just what he's gonna do with people that defy nature and such.
We'll see as soon as we have him as a guest for the podcast.
Indeed.
So, going into some territory for Sunday. I'm going to try to give Stan a link or at least a picture of the map I've made of the Welder area, so that he can put it below me in the empty section of our stream screen, so that you guys can get a somewhat of a feeling of what the area looks like, how some things are laid out, and it will make it somewhat easier for people to recognize certain locations should I be talking about it. Because none of the names are on there, because, Del and L can't read.
Del can. I can't.
Oh, Del can.
Yes.
Okay.
Since he's a monk, he's more into the, way of
Oh yeah,
learning.
oath of devotion in combination with the skill set of a cleric. There we go. But yeah, I understand. And you wanted to not read because roleplay reasons.
Yes.
Which is always the best answer you can give. Why do you want to murder the big bad, roleplay? Why do you want to murder the tavern wench, roleplay? What roleplay? She blew me off. I didn't. But yeah, for the next episode, we're going to continue with where we left off. We might be a little bit crusty and rusty because of the fact that we didn't have the opportunity to play because real life stuff, which is always more important for me. Yeah, I do agree with you, folks. I was severely disappointed to discover that a paladin doesn't have access to a lot of support, which made me make a homebrew version.
They have, if I recall correctly, Cure Wounds and Lay on Hands.
Yeah, they might have a few other spells which differ depending on what oath they take, but nothing resonated with me in terms of true support paladin. And since Lock the Door wanted that, we make it work by making one.
That is how it's meant to be played.
Yeah, maybe in a few levels when we figured out most of the skills, I'll truly make a custom class subclass so that I can put it on the DM's Guild on our Discord.
I would certainly be interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
By the
So,
way, you never told us the XP for last
No.
session.
I didn't. Because the encounter isn't over.
Oh. Okay. Fuck. Hey, maybe I can what's it called? Basically
didn't-
retcon my own combat by realizing it mid combat. Hey.
No.
Oh.
Well, maybe. We'll let you roll for it.
Okay.
No custom milestones. Everyone is still getting divided experience upon their contribution, but the encounter isn't over.
Oh, now I'm scared. Fuck.
So, in closing, coming Sunday, we'll continue the story of Welderkin Forest and maybe find out what everyone will do after the encounter. What route they want to take and what their first goal is going to be. I am excited.
I certainly am as well.
I hope the rest of you are as well.
But
Sunday will be live at the same time. Right?
I presume so.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting, it's 8 p.m., right?
8 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time. Or CEST. If you choose to be a dumb idiot who changes stuff. But hey.
Sure, might will
But
go
yeah.
for it.
In closing, I hope you all are excited for the extra content we are going to bring with the new campaign, like the podcast. I will look for maybe a few guests that can join us for the next episode of the podcast. Maybe one of the home group, like Jason or my girlfriend.
It would certainly be interesting to hear the other side of the world, basically.
Yeah, exactly my idea. I do for now wish everyone a very nice day.
Indeed. Have a good day, and we will see you Sunday.
I better see you Sunday, everyone. See you Sunday.
That works. Later.